And viewers, let's put the focus on what's happening in the Middle East, because according to Israeli media reports, we're learning that the United States is now tightening pressure on Iran ahead of the fresh negotiations. Donald Trump has now reportedly set a new deadline of the 25th of April for Tehran to present a unified proposal, a key condition for moving forward with the talks. The deadline now comes amid ongoing delays and also internal divisions within Iran's leadership, which have showed progress on a common negotiating stance. With time running out, all eyes are now on whether or not Iran will respond before this deadline ends, as diplomatic tensions continue to build. So that's the latest that we're getting from Donald Trump, in fact, where he says that now there is a deadline. It's only a few days up to April 25th by when he's expecting a new proposal to come, a new unified proposal to come from Iran. More breaking news coming in, because Iran has now hardened its position on the Strait of Hormuz and the ongoing ceasefire. Iran's lead negotiator and also the Speaker of their parliament, Mohammad Ghalibaf, has now said that reopening the crucial shipping lane is not possible due to what he calls a clear violation of the ceasefire. Now remember, Donald Trump had just extended the ceasefire last evening, but now Iran is claiming that this is not even a ceasefire at all, because he's stressing that a full ceasefire can only be meaningful if there has been no violation. But if the Strait of Hormuz is blockaded by the United States, then that in itself is a violation of the ceasefire. He's pointing to the ongoing maritime blockade and what he described as the hostage-taking of the global economy. Further, the Iran Speaker of the Parliament also added that military pressure and coercion will not work against Iran, asserting that the only way forward now is the recognition of Iran's rights. This, even as tensions continue to escalate between the United States and Iran. More breaking news now coming in, because even Lebanon has now drawn clear red lines ahead of the upcoming Washington talks. Joseph Aoun, in fact, the Lebanese leader, has called for a complete cessation of Israeli aggression, full withdrawal from Lebanese territory, and also the release of all Lebanese prisoners. He has also pushed for the deployment of the Lebanese army in south, stressing that preserving civil peace remains non-negotiable. Meanwhile, Lebanon's ambassador is set to head to the U.S. State Department for preparatory discussions, as the crucial talks are expected any moment now. So that's what's happening as far as Lebanon is concerned. Lebanon also keeping a very close watch of the situation. Meanwhile, a major disruption is unfolding in regional trade as well, as nearly 3,000 containers bound for Iran remain stranded at the Karachi port amid the tensions in the Strait of Hormuz. The cargo was originally meant for Iran, and this had to be offloaded after ships were unable to complete their journey due to the ongoing naval blockade. Now, alternative routes are also being explored, with discussions underway on a possible land corridor where Pakistani trucks could move the containers to the border and Iranian transport would then take over. At the same time, reports are also suggesting that Iran has been charging transit tolls in yuan and even cryptocurrency, particularly for oil shipments, creating a parallel system that has drawn global attention. However, the U.S. blockade appears to be disrupting this supply chain significantly, with several vessels halted, turning the blockade into a key pressure point in the escalating standoff. So that's the latest we're getting as far as the U.S. blockade is concerned, because now that the U.S. blockade is present, what we can see is that the Iranians are unable to get their cargo back to their coastline, which is why now Iran is also looking at a possible land route to get their goods, which is currently at the Karachi port, since they are unable to get them to the Iranian coastline because of the blockade that's currently underway, currently in place by the United States. Now Iran is also looking at the land route. But this, of course, brings us back to the original point of why Iran is demanding a complete withdrawal of this naval blockade if the talks have to progress. Now, Donald Trump is saying that the talks will take place could take place by as early as Friday. On the 25th of April is when he has set the deadline to ensure that, in fact, the unified proposal comes from Iran. But now what we're hearing is that while this is on, Iran is making it clear. They're in fact saying that this is a ceasefire violation if there is a blockade that is in place. We have Srinjoy Chaudhary, consulting editor, joining us on the broadcast to give us more details. Srinjoy, so, on the one hand, Donald Trump has set a deadline. He says that it is by the 25th where we expect a unified proposal. But on the other, Iran is also making it clear that if you really are imposing a blockade in the Strait of Hormuz, then this isn't even a ceasefire in the first place. How do we expect this to go forward?
It's all very confusing. The only point that must be mentioned is the fact that because of the blockade, Iran cannot sell its oil, and therefore it cannot buy products from different parts of the world. This is particularly important vis-a-vis China, because Iran sells a huge percentage of its oil to China. And China, the factory of the world, actually exports a lot of goods to Iran. Now that the blockade is in place, this has been broken. And we have to see how China deals with it, because China's interests are being hurt because of the blockade. And quite naturally, the Chinese won't like this very much. How long will China tolerate this is also a question.
Right. Absolutely. So the world keeping a very close watch on the situation here. Of course, on the one hand, while Donald Trump has also set a deadline and has also made it clear that we want a unified proposal soon, Iran is saying that we may not even have these talks going forward. We even saw that the second round of talks failed at least a few days back. Yesterday, we were expecting the talks to begin, but that did not happen. Ceasefire has been extended. Will the talks take place on Friday or not is something that remains to be seen. But thank you, Shinjoy, for joining us on the broadcast and giving us those details. And moving on, viewers, the oil tanker Desh Garima that we've been talking about is still awaiting docking near the Butcher's Island. This is about 12 nautical miles off the Mumbai coast. Now, this location serves as a key oil terminal, and it is equipped with pipeline facilities for unloading crude, even as other tankers remain stationed in the vicinity. My colleague Arunil, in fact, is reporting from the Butcher's Island to give you a sense of what exactly is happening there at the moment and what is expected to happen once Desh Garima docks there.
At present, I'm reporting from middle of the sea, around 15 kilometers from the Mumbai port. You can see this is the Butcher Island, wherein oil tankers are docked over here. All kinds of facilities to carry the crude oil from here, like pipe facilities, are being made at the Butcher Island. Now, why we are discussing this is, what is significant to note is, Desh Garima, the second Indian vessel to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, will be docked at the Butcher Island in some time now. It is the second vessel after the ceasefire was called between Iran and the United States. When Desh Garima was also passing through the Strait of Hormuz, two other vessels also attempted to do so, but they basically faced hostility from the Iranian side. Immediately, the ambassador of Iran was summoned by India's foreign secretary to explain the gravity of the situation as well. Desh Garima is carrying more than 97,000 tons of crude oil. 31 Indian crew are present on it, and it is also a major relief for India as well as the reserves of crude oil point of view is concerned.